Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Sierra from Sierra T Designs, and today I have a card using one of Kendra's challenge sketches. This is sketch number 4. I do have a video from about 2 weeks ago using sketch 14. If you want to check that out, I will leave a link in the box at the top there. But for this sketch, I did end up altering it a little bit. We'll get into that when we get a little closer. But for the layers, you are going to use a base layer of the A2 size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. My first gold mat that I just cut was 1 3/4 by 5 1/2, and the mat that's going on, the layer that's going on top of that, which I will blend pink but is currently white, is 1 1/2 by 5 1/2. And then the next layer would be a 3-inch square for the white layer, and then 3 1/4 inches for the matte. And then there was a 2-inch square on top of that, but I kind of altered the design a little bit to use more of this stamp set that was sent. So this one is actually sponsored by Gina K Designs, and she sent a stamp set. It is the Create a Tag Holiday Mini Stamps, and I chose to use the tag stamp as my top layer instead of cutting a second square, third layer. So that's kind of what I thought to do with that stamp set. I really wanted to use more of the stamps in it. And then if you guys have been to my channel before, you know that I love a pink and gold card. It just, for whatever reason, for Christmas, I love pink gold. And of course there's white in there as well as the neutral. But this is just a color combo that I love. If this isn't your jam, you could 110% make this your own by just changing the color palette. If you wanted to do blue and silver, purple and silver. Normally you would be, of course, using pattern paper. So it would be whatever your pattern paper was, as that is like Kendra's design challenges is from 6x6 pattern papers. But because we're featuring Gina K and she sent a stamp set, I'm going to make my own pattern paper. So to give it a kind of cool ombre background, I used 2 oxide inks here. I used Pick Raspberry and Kitsch Flamingo, and I just blended them. There's no real magic to that. I blend a lot on my channel just because I really love to ink blend, but I just used dome foams to make it a little bit simpler. And then I just double checked that I would be able to emboss with it because of course that ink would have been wet. So I brought out, 2 of the stamps from that stamp set. They're snowflakes, and I'm just going to create my own pattern paper. This does not need to be perfect. A lot of it will be covered up. So this is, I know some people are really intimidated by this idea, but honestly, a lot of this design is going to be covered up, so you're not going to see it anyway. So there's no real rhyme or reason or right way to do this. You kind of just stamp it wherever you think it looks good. I think it turned out pretty, but it was a bit probably too much. But again, that's okay because we're going to cover it up. So it works out in the end. So I did kind of white heat emboss those snowflakes on both pieces of this paper. This is a hop also, by the way. I should mention that. This is a hop, and I believe there's a few different card makers in this hop. Make sure you go and check them out. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of really cool cards made with some Gina K products. She very kindly is sponsoring this hop, and it will be interesting to see which sketch was chosen and what they used of Gina K's to create it. So as I said, I got a stamp set in the mail, so that's what I'm working with, but who knows? I don't know what anybody else got. I am a guest designer for Kendra. She just asks me whenever, she wants to, and I'm usually game to help create with whatever products. And I did really want to fill in just a little bit more of the area. So I grabbed a pen end that I thought was a circle. It's not. It actually says words, but you can't really tell. So I just kind of used that to fill in a little bit of the area around the snowflakes that I left open. I did want the background to be fairly busy because it is the only texture really in this card. I'm big in texture and dimension. That's one of my favorite things about card making. So I do tend towards it. You don't have to be this, I don't know. I don't want to say there's just a lot going on these little strips of cardstock. You don't have to have this much going on. You could easily simplify this if you wanted to. Or as I said, if you were using some cardstock, you would already have your pattern paper, in which case you wouldn't need to do this step at all. This is just because I really wanted to feature that stamp set a lot. So that's kind of what I chose to do. So I did heat set those, and I'm going to stamp that tag die out now. This I make sure is in the corner because this is a new stamp and it's a very wide stamp. I guess dense stamp. I don't know the right word for that, but there's a lot of there's a lot of circumference. There's a big area in which you need to stamp the color, and it's brand new, so it's not seasoned, so it's going to be a little bit patchy for the start. So I brought out my Misty for that so I could easily line it up and stamp it a second time to make sure I got a more consistent color across the tag. That's my preference. I did actually see that there is a matching die set for this stamp set, just for the tag. I believe Simon Says Stamp sells it. I don't have it, so I'm going to fussy cut this tag out, which again, I don't mind fussy cutting, so that doesn't really bother me at all, but there is a matching die set if you wanted to use that instead. And then for the sentiment in the sketch, it is on the bottom of the top layer, so I kind of am trying to recreate that with my tag. This stamp also came in that same stamp set, and I am going to heat emboss it in gold because I don't want to introduce any new colors. I'm only going to bring in white, gold, and pink. That's kind of the only colors I want introduced here. So you could have done it in white instead of the gold. I just wanted to have a little more gold on the card because right now the only gold is the layers. So this kind of just gave me an opportunity to add a little more gold. But you absolutely could do this in white if you wanted to. And heat setting metallic embossing powder is always so magical to me. Like, I just love it. It never gets old no matter how many times I've done it. It's just such a fun thing to watch happen. And as I said, I am going to fussy cut this. Again, there is a die. I'm leaving a small white border around the edge. This is because it is pink on pink and I want the white to help the tag stand out. You could fussy cut along the edge, but actually another option would be you could like mat this on a piece of gold cardstock and then cut around it, and that would have given you like another layer in gold. I chose to just leave a white border because white is one of the colors I'm using, but completely up to you. And then I did add a gold eyelet just into that little tag hole area. I did kind of miss the center a little bit, so I just ink blended a little on top of that so that there was no white showing around the little eyelet. And then I'm going to add some ribbon. If you've been to my channel, you know that I struggled to make bows. So yes, I'm going to make you watch me make a bow because I actually made this bow for me fairly quickly. But bear with me, I am going to make this bow. I'm just going to wrap it around. So I used some sheer white ribbon, and then I'm going to use some white and gold kind of I guess it would be like a twine kind of style. And that's how I'm going to kind of add just a little more interest to this little tag. But this tag, as I said, is replacing the top layer in my sketch because I didn't do that 2-inch square. The tag is going to replace that layer. So that's just how I kind of interpreted the sketch. Of course, you can follow it to exactly how Kendra designed it. This is just me, going a little rogue and trying something a little different, but that's kind of what I like to do with my card making. But yeah, so make sure you do hop along. There is a giveaway as well. I believe you just have to fill out the Google document. It is in the description down below. So, you hop through everybody, fill out that document, and I believe Kendra will announce the winner. But everything, like all the details, everybody in the hop, all the information, all of the sketches, everything is in the description down below. So any information you need, you can check that out, but you can always leave me a comment too, and I always respond to them. So if you have a question about something, you can ask and I will do my best to respond to it. If it's sketch related though, you might want to ask Kendra. She would give you better information than I can, but you're always welcome to ask me the questions. And then we're just going to start putting the card together. I'm going to adhere my layers mostly just with liquid glue, just because I find that gives me a little bit of wiggle time so that I can make sure that it is centered on whatever I'm layering up. And I think that pink and gold, there's something magical about it to me. I just love pink and gold. It's just so fun. And then I'm going to adhere it down to the base, and then we're kind of getting close to the end. I did also add a little bit of foam tape to the tag. You're going to see that here in a second. And I did that because, again, I wanted to give the card a little more separation because there is no gold border around the tag. There's just that white border. I made it stand up a little higher with foam tape just to give it a different texture and dimension. I really like dimension. This card actually would probably mail okay, though it is, a bit tall. or like there's layers, I should say, because you have so many layers of cardstock. There's a bit of a thickness to it, but it would still fit in an A2 envelope perfectly fine. You would just have a little bit of dimension there that you'd have to be aware of. So I don't think you could send it through a machine like I know the States, you guys machine your cards. You wouldn't be able to do that with this one, I don't think, because I am also going to add some pearls, as the sketch has an embellishment in the top right corner. So I will be also adding those. And of course, I love pearls. Any excuse to add pearls to my card, and I am there. It's one of my favorite embellishments, just because they're so pretty and they come in so many fun colors. But yeah, so you did see me there just add a little bit of foam tape. I did have a little bit hanging off the edge, so I did trim that with my scissors just to make sure that it didn't actually poke out behind the little tag. And then I'm just going to adhere the tag to the center of that square. I think it's a touch down closer to the bottom of the top square, and it's supposed to be centered. That was just because that ribbon gave me more height. So I intentionally nudged it down a little bit in the design. But if you're following the sketch, it would actually be centered to that 3-inch square. But yeah, so that is the card design. I'm going to hold it up so you guys can check it out in all of its glory. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you kind of learned something, if that's, I know that it wasn't pattern paper, but I really wanted to kind of, really showcase that stamp set that Jana K sent. So that is what I wanted to do with this card. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you leave me a like, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do new videos every Monday and Thursday, and I do join in sometimes on really fun hops when somebody asks me. So thank you so much, guys, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.